I think Shivani, when you're ready, you can start with it.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भक्ति नैष्टिकी. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 2, The Elephant Gajendra's Crisis, verse 14 to 24. Text 14 and to 19. In that garden there was very large lake filled with shining golden lotus flowers, and the flowers known as Kumuda, Kahalara, Utpala, Satpatra, which added excellent beauty to the mountain. There were also Bilva, Kapitha, Jambira, and Bhalataka trees. Intoxicated bumblebees drank honey and hummed with the chirping of the birds, whose songs whose songs were very melodious. The lake was crowded with swans, karandavas, chakravakas, crans, and flocks of water chickens. Daityas, coyastis, and other murmuring birds. Because of the agitating movements of the fish and tortoise, the water was decorated with pollen that had fallen from the lotus flowers. The lake was surrounded by kadamba flowers, vetesa flowers, nalas, nipas, ven- venjulakas, kundas, kurubakas, ashokas, sirisas, kutajas, Ingudus, Kubjakas, Swarnayuthis, Nagas, Punnagas, Jatis, Malikas, Satapatras, Jalakas, and Madhvi Latas. The banks were also abundantly adorned with varieties of trees that yielded flowers and fruits in all seasons. Thus, the entire mountain stood gloriously decorated. Text 20. The leader of the elephants who lived in the forest of mountain Trikuta once wandered toward the lake with his female elephants. He broke many plants, creepers, thickets, and trees, not caring for the piercing thorns. Text 21. Simply by catching scent of that elephant, all the other elephants, the tigers, and the other ferocious animals such as lions, rhinoceros, great serpents, and the black and white sarabas fled in fear. The chavari deer also fled. Text 22. By the mercy of this elephant, animals like foxes, wolves, buffaloes, bears, boars, gopuchas, parku porcupines, monkeys, rabbits, and other deer and many other small animals loitered elsewhere in the forest. They were not afraid of him. Text 23 and 24. Surrounded by the herd's other elephants, including females, and followed by the young ones, Gajapati, the leader of the elephants, make Trikuta mountain tremble all around because of the weight of his body. He was perspiring, liquor dripped from his mouth, and his vision was overwhelmed by intoxication. He was being served by bumblebees who drank honey, and from a distance he could smell the dust of the lotus flowers, which was carried from the lake by the breeze, thus surrounded by his associates who were afflicted by thirst. He soon arrived at the bank of the lake. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shivani Mataji, for reading the purport. The translations. Let me share my screen. I will start with prayers. Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Ajnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वतांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you Sundaran Prabhu for giving me the opportunity. So we are reading about Gajendra's pastimes, and here it is mentioned about all the different the description of the higher planetary systems where he went for vacation. So even in the higher planetary systems, the Bhagavatam actually describes not just, people might think that Bhagavatam might only describe about the spiritual world, but actually that is not the case. The Bhagavatam also describes about material world. Although this is what is mentioned here is in the higher planetary systems, but it is still in the material world. So it gives different. The Bhagavatam, gives different dimensions of these different places. So it's not just about the spiritual world, but it's also giving dimensions of these material this material universe. And I was thinking that this living entity, actually we are always hankering for happiness. So because we are Sachidananda, we are Anandmaya Bhyasad. We are always seeking happiness in this material world, but what we are not understanding is we are trying to seek happiness in the wrong place. We are trying to seek happiness in the material world. But this because we are Anandmaya Bhyasad, we are supposed to be in bliss. We are supposed to be happy beings. But just like people seek just Prabhupada says that people this is like seeking happiness in seeking water in a desert, seeking happiness in the material world. So so like that, this Gajendra, he went with his family on vacation trying to find some happiness. People go on vacations to get some happiness. And this Bhagavatam has described very elaborately, excuse me, of this particular place that is that Gajendra went with his family. It's mentioned there were many different types of trees and flowers. Some of them we have heard, some of them we have not even heard. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that there are 2 million types of trees in this universe, right? So in this material world. So this 2 million varieties is not just in the on earthly planet, but it is basically distributed all across the material world. So that's how that number has come, that that there are 2 million different types of trees, but not all of them are exhibited on earth. So because Srimad Bhagavatam, it presents the total knowledge of the universe. It's not just providing knowledge of this particular world, but it's giving different dimensions. It's giving different planetary systems, knowledge about different planetary systems in the world. And so there are different gradations of happiness that is found in these different material worlds. So for example, even in this world, right, we see that a happiness that is a beggar might have a different kind of happiness versus the rich people might have different kind of happiness. And they might be enjoying in a different way. So and even amongst the rich people, like those who are they will always try to find a variety of different happiness. So they might seek, so somebody who has one car, they might look to get another car. Somebody who might have just one house, they might look for another house to buy, like a vacation house or something like that, right? So we are always like looking for expanding or growing material things and material conditions, so that in the hope that the happiness can increase. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, verse 2.8.2, there is this verse that explains different higher different planets, and the characteristics of the happiness that is found on those different planets. So the first, basically, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it says, first happiness is found on earth, that is earthly happiness, by and who is it enjoyed by? It is enjoyed by Manusha, and that's why it's called Manushananda. And what is this characterized by? So this particular happiness is characterized by youthful body, strong body, physical strength, youth. The whole world will obey Manusha, and they will be able to read Vedas, understand scriptures, perform karma kand, and that's how they will enjoy happiness in this world. The second level, or the next level of happiness, is Manusha Gandharvananda. So happiness on this experienced by them, by these people, is 100 times more than the first, that is Manusha on the earthly planet. So they live on the Gandharva planet. By birth they are Kshatriyas, and they are like they are Gandharvas. That means they are semi demigods. They are mostly musicians, and they enjoy they enjoy happiness, which is 100 times more than the happiness found by Manusha in this world. Then the next grade is Dev Gandharvanand, which is they are born as, and again the happiness is again 100 times more than the Manusha Gandharvanand. And Dev Gandharvanand, they are born as Brahmanas, and they're conversant with all the Vedas, and they enjoy the heavenly planets. And then the next one is Chira Lokananda. They live on the planet of the Pitris. So they're born as Brahmanas, and they give up all the mundane desires, and they enjoy on the Pitrulokam. And again, the happiness is 100 times more than the Deva Gandharvas. And then the fifth one is Ajananda Deva Lokananda. That means they reside on the planet called Ajanaja, and they are demigods. And again, the happiness is multiplied by 100 times than the previous one. Then the sixth one is Karma Devananda. That means the person, so they are, who are they? They are, they're born as Brahmanas, and this particular level, this particular planet is achieved by performing Agnihotra sacrifice. And with that, fruits of that Agnihotra sacrifice, they attain this heavenly planet, and then these people are called Karma Devas. Again, the happiness is multiplied 100 times. And then is the seventh level is Devananda. So the happiness is again 100 times, and these are experienced by 33 Devas, of which are the 33 Devas are they consist of 8 Vasus, 11 Rudras, and 12 Adityas. And this also includes the Prajapatis. And then the next level of happiness is Indrananda. This is again 100 times more than the Devananda. And this is experienced by the king of heaven, Indra. Then the ninth level, and this is all like material happiness, ninth level is Brihaspati Ananda. This is experienced by the spiritual master of Indra. Then the 10th is Prajapati Ananda, and these are the experienced by the Prajapati. So again, like, all these 10 different Anandas, these are like, it keeps growing, like, it keeps multiplying from the previous one. So it's like 100 times more than the previous 100 times more. So the Prajapati is like the highest level that is found in the material world. This is all material happiness. And then after that, the 11th happiness is the bliss of Brahman. So actually, we might think that, this Brahmananda, this bliss of merging into the Supreme Lord, that is not really happiness. It is not really enjoyment. But actually, we don't really know, because this is even better than the last stage, that is the 10th, the Prajapati Ananda. So which is even like it's much more, it gives much more happiness than the whatever we find in the material world. So but still, like, it does not give the actual Ananda to the spirit soul. So the common man, as common people like us, we will not understand what it is to be in the Brahmananda stage. And we find that our acharyas, that they go beyond this Brahmananda stage. So they go towards Aishwaryananda, that is found in Vaikuntha, and Prema Rasananda, that is found in Goloka. So the happiness these spiritual happiness, they cannot be measured. Like material happiness, like how there is it is mentioned that it's 100 times more, 100 times more, 100 times more. But the spiritual bliss is not defined. It's not definite. It cannot be measured. It is unmeasured. And Krishna actually mentions in the Bhagavad Gita that how to like how we can reach these material planets. So one way is, like, the scientist, through a scientific way, that if the science actually follows Srimad Bhagavatam, then there is a possibility that if they take the science from the Bhagavatam and scriptures, then there is a possibility of reaching but again, the scientists, they don't believe in Vedas and scriptures and the calculations and everything that is given here, so they just completely reject it. But what is mentioned in the Bhagavatam is very, very scientific. It's very it just needs to be explored by science. But through science also we can go. There is a possibility that we can go. But actually, science today, they only measure the velocity of time and distance. But actually, they don't really know the velocity of mind and intelligence. In Brahma Samhita, it says Pantastu Kotisha Tavatsara Sampragamya. So we can travel by the speed of mind. We cannot go in this body, but there are like mystic sciences, like mystic yogis who have these siddhis, mystic siddhis, that even being in the material world, they can know what is going on on another planet. They can see what's going on. They have Doordarshan. They can see what's going on on other planets, what is happening there, and things like that. And then Krishna actually, Krishna. So there are. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that there are people who leave this, who pass away from this material world, and then they come back. And then there are in the eighth chapter, Krishna mentions that people who pass away from this material world, there are people who come back to this material world after their pious credits are exhausted, and there's another type of people who do not come back, who pass away in a certain time. They do not come back in this material world. So in verse 8.14, Krishna says, those who pass away in Uttarayan, they that is the 6 months of when the sun is in the Uttarayana stage. That's when Uttarayan phase, they do not come back. And then the others who do not pass away in that particular. So this particular these particular planets are also achieved by mystic perfections. The one is basically by performing some pious credits, pious from punya, and then the other way is like to attain some mystic perfections. So like prapti siddhi, doordarshan, Manojaya, traveling by the mind. Ishita, one can travel, one can, Prapti, they can travel on the rays of the moon. All of these can be attained by performing performing mystic yoga. And then in verse 20, it says, he Gajendra, the up until the 19th verse, there was just different. It explained about the different trees and trees and fruits and stuff like that, that is found. And then now he has reached he has kind of reached his destination. He's close to where he wants to go. So the leader of the elephants who lived in the forest of the mountain Trikuta wandered towards the lake with his female elephants. And what he did on the way, how did he reach? He broke many plants, creepers, thickets, and trees, not caring for their piercing thorns. So the analogy is given here that like he didn't care. That means that he broke many plants, creepers, means that he didn't care what was on his way. He just went towards he just wanted to go towards his destination, and he just wanted to reach the place. So this is the analogy given for the materialist who are looking to achieve what they want without caring for anything else or anybody else. And they might they might burn some bridges. They might they might not care about relationships. They might not care about people, or they might not care about how other people are feeling, and things like that. And they might just go and try to achieve what they want to achieve. So this is the mentality that of the materialist, and that is what is mentioned here. That is what is explained here. And then it says, simply by catching scent of that elephant, all other elephants, tigers, and other ferocious animals, they fled in fear. So and then in text 22 it says, by the mercy of this elephant, other animals like foxes, wolves, buffaloes, bears, all smaller animals, they loitered elsewhere in the forest, and they were not afraid of him. So practically we can see that everybody was scared. Like some were scared, but they just showed their respect. Out of respect, they did not stand before him, because he was so huge, he was so powerful, that all these other animals, they did not come near him. They did not, out of respect, they did not stand before him. So it seems like all the other animals were actually controlled by this elephant. And what this elephant, what was the condition of the Gajendra? That is given in the next two verses. He was followed by other young elephants, and he made Trikuta mountain tremble all around because of the weight of his body. What was his condition? He was perspiring, liquor was dripping from his mouth, and his vision was overwhelmed by intoxication. He was served by bumblebees who drank honey, and from a distance he could smell the dust of the lotus flowers, which was carried from the lake by the breeze. Thus, surrounded by his associates, he soon arrived at the lake. So he is completely intoxicated. Gajendra is completely intoxicated, and all he can think of is all he can he wanted to do was to get to the lake, lake of the Trikuta mountain, and that's all he wanted to do. We can see that when people, even in this material world, we see that yeah, that people who are going on vacation, for example, if you've ever been on a flight to Las Vegas, in the flight itself, people start drinking. They start they try to be in that consciousness that they are already in Vegas. So like that, we see like glimpses of that here also. And this is the same mentality, is just enjoying mentality, which they just want to enjoy. So same here in Gajendra's pastime also, he wanted to enjoy. He was drunk, he was accompanied by his family and others and other elephants, and he wanted to um, enjoy enjoy in the lake. So that is what is those were all the verses for today. Sundaran Prabhu, if you have anything else, please feel free to add, but I will pause it here. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
For the opportunity.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.